If you like what you hear on the podcast today, please let us know about it. John, how do we do that?
Like, comment, and share on the podcast platform you're listening on right now. It helps us out a bunch. Please do that for us.
We're Midwest Ghost Hunters. It's Dark Matter, our podcast we do at Pythian Castle every weekend here in Springfield, Missouri. So one thing that I'm really excited about, the horror genre seems to be revived a bit. We don't have to talk about movies this time. I know we did that a couple times ago, but there's some movies coming out and already out that are supposed to be just fucking phenomenal. New storylines. I mean, we're not redoing, Halloween or Friday the 13th or any of those. There's new storylines like Obsession. This movie was made by a YouTuber for like $750,000. How much is it made now?
I think it broke a record. Didn't it break the record?
It had a record-breaking opening weekend. Then it had a record-breaking second weekend because the second weekend beat the first weekend.
That's going to happen with word of mouth and stuff.
And then it had a record-breaking third weekend where the third weekend was bigger than the second and the first.
Yeah, that's good. You know Hollywood hates those guys, right?
Well, I know. And the cool thing about this is there is some gore in it from what the pieces that I've seen. The cool thing is Curry, what's his name? Curry Barker, is that his name? He's the YouTube guy that directed this thing. He uses John Carpenter's process from the original Halloween. He uses lighting and color.
So he uses skill.
Yeah. Like in Halloween, if you watch it, there's a lot of angles and lighting and a lot of dark blues and
that's how movies used to be.
Yeah, that's how they kind of set the mood. It's not just an axe swinging into someone's fucking face.
That would come later.
There is a little bit of that, but the scary parts of this movie, from what I've read, and I've read a bunch about it, because I find it amazing that a horror movie is doing this fucking well. The scary parts people say is the psychological stuff, the angles, the anticipation, coloring, and the lighting, and all that shit. But anyway, so you got that one out. You got Obsession, and then Backrooms is supposed to be really good. And then if you want to talk about, we're not going to talk about movies here, but this is just what's on top of my head at the moment. You got those two, and there's another one too, and I can't remember what the fuck it is.
You're not saying the one I'm looking forward to most.
Well, I know. That's the one I was getting ready to say. If you like the blockbuster style, the Independence Day, Jurassic Park type shit, which I like that too. Disclosure Day. Yeah, that's one of those, special effects, sci-fi, the aliens have landed movies. It's going to be good.
I heard it described as like, you ever seen the movie Contact?
Mm-hmm.
Jodie Foster.
Yep.
It's a really good alien movie.
Yeah.
But I heard it described as Disclosure Day as like Contact meets Independence Day meets the Bible.
What's that last
Which
part
is like
mean?
the craziest fucking combination of things.
How's it?
I'm assuming it kind of dips into like the origin of humanity and stuff, probably.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, but it's going to be good. That's for sure.
Yeah, that one's going to be good. It comes out later in June, I believe. I'm sure it does because that's the big summer time.
Yeah, I think it is like the second or third week of June.
And it's called, I can never remember the name of it. I don't know why the name jumps out of my head. It already
The one
has.
we just talked about?
Yeah.
The one that we just said the name of?
The Spielberg
Disclosure
one.
Day.
Disclosure. Disclosure is the word that always jumps out of my head. But that's going to be good if you're into alien stuff, which I am.
Very topical movie.
Yeah, it is. Oh, and by the way, I listened to...
We haven't talked on this podcast, unless you guys did while I was gone.
Well, we talked.
About the government alien disclosure website that they release with all the documents that we've seen a million times.
I've only looked at like Reddit stuff where they pull stuff out of there, and I have not dug into that in an Epstein files.
There's literally zero new things in it.
Well, there's a few things. At least there's things in there I hadn't seen.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there from like that Arrow place, which is a...
Yeah,
we've been getting a lot of those pictures and stuff over the years already. It is kind of cool that it's all collected in one place.
But they didn't have the Eisenhower Treaty in there, is what you're saying?
Yeah, no, there's no...
It was new to me.
And that's the thing, too, people got to understand. Just because it's on there doesn't mean it's, like, verified. Like, that's just the investigations that have taken place.
Right.
That they can still investigate something that's not...
Yeah, this is kind of like the whole Epstein thing where every allegation that's there it's in there. And they may all be real. I mean, none or whatever.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that's definitely real, but there's also...
I wish they would do a website that has the shit that... We know they've investigated shit. Put that in a website.
Well, this is the stuff they have investigated.
Okay, well, put the stuff that's been determined to be real.
But is it all the stuff they've investigated? Like,
well,
you know what I mean?
No.
Like,
there's no way.
Like, I hate to put on the tinfoil hat, but it's just common. You got to use some common sense here. Like, if we really reverse engineered a UFO and figured out how the propulsion and weapon systems works, we're not going to put it on a .gov website.
No, we're not. I mean, there's national security stuff at play there.
But it is fun to kind of scroll through there. The website looks like it's something from the 90s that I would code up on GeoCities.
Well, but a lot of these things, you start digging down into some of these theories, and it's like, okay, hold on. Supposedly, like the theory that Eisenhower met with these aliens and that he had an agreement that they gave him anti-gravity technology. They give him anti-gravity technology in the 50s, and we're still not really using it.
Well, that part I believe, kind of. If you give us anti-gravity technology, then the oil companies don't make their money.
That's true. And what I was going to say a minute ago is I listened to a podcast about a scientist who, did you know they've created hydrogen-fueled engines?
I did know that, yes.
They're there.
No, they're there.
They're like sitting in places, ready to be utilized. How efficient they are, I don't know. How expensive they are, I don't know either. But one of the guys who...
Wouldn't that be incredibly dangerous, driving around with a bunch of hydrogen?
It is. I mean, it's dangerous to drive around.
Driving around with gasoline
gas is
as well.
Dangerous too, but wouldn't hydrogen be a lot worse?
Sure. I mean, but everything is dangerous to a point. You got to...
I mean, hydrogen is one of the most plentiful, elements available to us. But anyway, what I was going to say is this engineer who was in charge of designing this engine, this hydrogen engine that has, I think it was ceramic sleeves, built in, whatever. I don't know the ins and outs of the science of it. He was, believe it or not, went missing.
Oh man. Yeah, it's funny when you hear about these scientists that are like...
But not only did he go missing, but his captors were traced back to Exxon, in a way. It's a long sordid story.
So I heard this one story, too, about this scientist that was able to make this piece of technology that pulled clean water, like, from the air. Like, an efficient way to pull, like, clean water from the air, like humidity and atmospheric stuff that's just kind of sitting there. And he better be sure not to walk around any windows for a while.
Yeah, it gets tricky.
I heard this joke once about this guy. Dude's on a plane, and the guy in front of him, he overhears him saying that he just discovered a way to power a vehicle with water. And so the dude behind him gets out a notepad and starts writing his will.
It is.
Because that plane is going to
that's
terrible accident on the way to its destination.
It's a good way to go missing. But anyway, I listened to several podcasts that were about the missing scientists, and they kind of talked about, what led to their being missing. Los Alamos, are you familiar with Los Alamos?
Yeah.
Yeah, several from there.
Los Alamos, like Bob Lazar.
Yeah. Several from there or at least two or three are missing. We don't have to talk about the missing people again. I was just thinking about, because I did listen to several podcasts about those missing scientists that we had brought that up a couple of weeks ago. John, you had a couple of ideas you want to talk about today.
Yeah, I thought that, it would be kind of cool to look back and say to ourselves, this is based on our own things that we've had happen. What's the biggest surprise that you've actually seen since we've been out doing this? What's the biggest surprise you've heard while we're doing this? And what's the funniest thing that you've seen or heard while we're doing this?
Dustin?
You have to give me a minute.
Yeah, let's see. So the biggest surprise, meaning the thing that, let's see, I'm trying to think, because I've had a bunch.
Or even top three, if you don't think you can pinpoint
like surprise meaning like a fear, or just like in general, like, oh, that's
the holy crap, I can't believe I just saw that. Let me give you an example. Mine is Tap House. When I saw the guy walking in front of you, that is the biggest surprise I've ever seen while we were doing this.
So we're looking to keep it in the realm of like paranormal then.
Well, I mean, if you've seen aliens when we were out doing ghost investigation,
aliens,
you can bring that in.
The biggest surprise to me is when we went on that investigation, and within 5 minutes we heard shots fired.
Well, yeah. So you can take this from a couple of angles. I've had several surprises where I'm surprised because, holy shit, people live this way?
Oh yeah. That happens a lot. Yeah, like how the fuck do these people like wake up in the morning?
And that can be split off in two different directions. One, it can be the rancid pan of macaroni. That can be one angle. But the other angle can be kind of what you're talking about with the shots fired. The other angle can be, because this surprised the fuck out of me when we went into this house, and there's a room that is fucking multiple deadbolted closed
from the outside.
From the outside
with wires going into it. Like it was a server
it was a
room.
fucking control center for something.
Yeah.
So
I was surprised by that too. And why would you have anyone come into a house that you want apparently no one to enter that room that badly.
Well, I don't know, man.
I don't. There's that, but then there's also. I didn't even think about it when we were on site, but this house was loaded with cameras on the outside and on the inside.
Yeah, something was going on there.
So if you've had lots of paranormal experiences in your home and you've got all these interior cameras, he never once offered up a video of anything happening inside the house. But we saw the cameras in there.
Probably, if I had to guess, it's probably because while the paranormal activity was happening, if he was to show us that video, there would
Other
be
shit was
other
happening.
things going on.
So let me explain to people listening who may not know what the fuck we're talking about. We're not just talking about, because people listening are probably like, oh, all those wires leading to that room, that's probably where the cameras all, they went to a set. No, that's not what it was. Because this room was locked with multiple different locks, and he kept telling us over and over and over before he left that night and left us alone in the home not to go in that room. Yeah. Even if you hear something in here, we're not going to go in that room.
I don't remember that part. If you hear something,
well. But the point,
if you hear women and children screaming for help in that room,
he may not have said if you hear something, but his point was no matter what, we're going to stay out of that room. That's the only thing that's off limits is that room. So if we had heard something in there, we couldn't have gotten there anyway. I mean, why did he have to keep reiterating, don't go in that room? Well, we would have had to have had fucking heavy equipment to get into that room. So that surprised me. That kind of stuff surprises me. And seeing a greasy butt plug surprised me.
Greasy.
See, but this kind of stuff surprises me less.
Greasy.
This kind of stuff surprises me less after we've done this.
But again, that's one of those things where you're like, okay, you're inviting people over to your house. I don't invite people over to my house with dirty dishes in the sink.
I know. I don't either.
Like, I've got to make sure I gotta like be somewhat presentable, or I get embarrassed about it. Can you imagine inviting someone over to your house and just being in the state of mind where you forget that your fucking dildo is sitting on the coffee table?
Dildo. That's a funny fucking
Would you
word.
leave your dildo on the coffee table, John? Where do you put your dildo when you're
in its case, of course?
I don't get that from people's standpoint.
Here's a surprising one. And this is not going in the direction I think that you were envisioning.
Well, it's okay. We'll take it back that way in a minute.
Because
I've got stuff in that way too.
I do too. Like when we walk downstairs here and the fucking chandeliers swinging wildly back. That's surprising.
Yeah.
The card being flipped over.
Well, if you're going to go into that realm.
I don't want to. I want to go into the other.
Okay, you're going to. Okay.
I want to go into like the dead, drying, rotting mouse and carpet realm.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that compound house.
The compound.
Where the toilet wasn't
the
connected.
The toilet was just sitting over a hole.
And they had the... They had the biggest spiders I've ever seen in my life in that house.
Is that the same place where we went downstairs in the basement? It was like a cellar, really.
That was where Tyler did
and there was poop coming down the walls?
Correct.
Not just down the walls, dude. We're talking about like there was a layer of it across the floor down there.
Remember in Amityville when the blood started oozing out the walls? Replace that with shit.
It's worse.
That's what was happening in that basement.
I'd rather have blood.
And it was a plumbing issue, not a paranormal one.
Right. And really, I think that place should have been condemned by the health department.
I really do too.
I think, if they had went and done an inspection, I think they would. You'd have to. There's human feces on the walls.
And there's a bag of puffy Cheetos. I don't know why I remember these stupid fucking details, but there's a bag of puffy Cheetos laying on the floor, an open bag, and right next to it is where that mouse has become one with the carpet. It had been stepped on so many fucking times.
Oh my God.
See, this was the location where the friend of Dustin showed up with that one girl who knew everything about paranormal stuff.
And I don't want people listening to think, oh my God, these guys are going to come into my house and start judging me. We don't do that.
You don't understand how over the top this one was.
If you put your butt plugs away and you don't let mice rot into your carpet, you're in the top 10%.
Put your butt plugs away.
That's like all you got to do is just look. It's not like everywhere we go is like this.
Most places
are very nice, like just regular people, regular human beings.
Well, I mean, even take the home we did a year ago with the girl who was a photographer. But her house was very nice, but she had oddities in it, put up in a cool way. there was a fucking coffin in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, no, I like that stuff. That's cool.
And and there were witchcraft, pages from a book that were framed and put on the wall.
Yeah,
and
but it wasn't. There's no health violations.
No,
like it was a very clean.
That's the point I'm making. Is it's different, but it was cool. It was clean.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here is hoarders type situations. Yes. If you've ever seen that show.
Yeah. Yes.
Like cat skeletons and shit. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's some of the surprising stuff to me. Not only that those things are in there, but those things are in there, and they've invited 4 or 5 strangers to come in.
That's the part that gets me. Look, I understand that people live in squalor. I get it. Like people do. People are great. Humans are disgusting.
Oh, I know.
I get that. But inviting people over while your house is in that state, that's like the state of mind it takes to do that.
I was surprised whenever we went to that house. I almost said where it was, and I'm not going to say that, but the one with the mouse and the toilet sitting over the hole. Not only that it was in that condition, but that they were showing us around and saying, "Oh, just kick that out of the way."
Yeah,
it's like I'm not going to kick that. I don't know what the fuck's under that.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's just bizarre to me. Maybe I'm too over the top with keeping shit in order.
No, dude. People just need to like don't invite people over if you have dead mice fused to your carpet.
Anyway, so there's that angle. There's lots of surprises in that direction.
Yeah.
There's been many over the years, and I'm sure we've forgotten several of them.
I mean, there's the surprise of getting boxed in and almost murdered at Mars Hill. That was a surprise. I didn't see that coming when I woke up that morning. I kind of
saw that I saw that 5% chance in my head.
Yeah. I guess so.
But as far as like actual surprises about holy shit, did that just happen? My top one would probably be getting actually touched here at Pythian Castle, not in this room, over in the other room.
And by the way, whenever I gave mine, I'm setting aside the Willard investigation because that one is always the top surprise, the top scary, the top everything for me. But I thought I should mention that.
Yeah, I've thought about before when I'm not at this podcast how I'm going to try to get away from Willard a little bit. I'm going to try to stop talking about it because it seems like every time we have one of these
that's why I did not. I chose to go to a different thing other than the Willard one, which we always talk about.
We're gonna close that case up here. Pretty soon. We're going to do another investigation and see what happens there. Now, that's either going to blow it wide open or it's going to help us, kind of close that one up because the owner of that house in Willard wants us to come investigate her new place, and we're going to do that here coming up pretty soon. I know. It seems like we talk about Willard all the fucking time.
Well, it's just anytime we have an episode where it's like, what was like your... like the most influential part of the part
right,
the thing that affected you the most, it's always the same,
right? That's why I tried to sidestep it,
and we're glazing over a lot of shit when we do that. There's been a lot of other shit happen. It's not just Willard. I mean, Willard's probably the one off that we hit that has, if we've had an investigation that had a non-human, style presence there, that would be it. But we've had lots of other shit happen, along the way as well. Lots of it right here at Pythian Castle. There's been things happen here. I mean, we heard, people running down the stairs one day. Not person, but people. I've never been touched. I'm not the type of person who gets touched, by shit. A paranormal investigation. We weren't even doing a paranormal investigation. We were doing this podcast. And something did touch me. There's no doubt about it because it was so fucking weird and cold. And it felt like fingers, and it was a fucking hand. That's all I know.
For me, the thing that the thing that would lead the thing I've seen would be at the bar when I saw the guy come walking directly in front of Dustin. I don't think I can ever get beyond that. I also thought it was wild. One evening I was out here at the castle, and I saw a whole herd of shadows going up the stairs here at Pythian Castle, bunch of shadow figures. I thought that was bizarre. The night that I was helping to close the castle and I heard the footsteps down here, and we actually have audio of that.
And when I say we gloss over things when we focus too much on Willard, I'm not saying we shouldn't focus on Willard. That was a big deal. But the one we're forgetting, because I was just thinking when you were talking about the guy you saw at Tap House, I was just thinking to myself, I've never really seen a full-bodied apparition, which I really haven't. But the closest I've ever came was here at the castle, down in the tunnels. We saw a person down there.
Yeah.
Peeking around.
Chris, and that was also bizarre.
That's a good video, actually.
That one I still have.
That's a bizarre time because if you're a new podcast listener, we were down in the basement here at Pythian Castle, and I looked down and I saw what the figure that they refer to as Mr. Boots. I tell Chris, look at that. Now, normally, when this sort of thing happens, you're lucky to even see it yourself. If you tell somebody to look down there, they're not going to see it.
Yeah, especially me.
And it's almost unheard of then for that person to be able to lift up and start shooting video.
Well, and I didn't even, because I know I've said that in the past, but what actually happened was I took a picture, and the video that we have is a live photo.
A live photo,
yeah. And if you watch that live photo, you can see this fucking person, not just an anomalous shadow, not just some vague thing. It is a fucking dude with a head, 2 arms, and 2 legs.
And just to kind of clear things up a little bit, this was in the tunnel.
This is in the tunnel.
And there's no exit on the other end of that tunnel.
Well, we had just been in. Had we been back there yet? I don't know if we had.
We
hadn't been back there yet.
But like, we did go back there, and there's nothing there.
No,
there's no way anything can escape that end.
No, it ends. It's just
The only way
a wall.
it could have, if it was a person, the only way they could have gotten out is to come towards us.
And nothing went in or out of there. Look, you can tell that this is a human form, but it's not a person.
Also, keep in mind, when you and Tyler are going down there, walking in there, you're shooting video, and you get that hello, hello,
very clear,
hello, and not a.
No,
I'm talking about a hello, just like that.
And we were the only 2 in there. We were way back in there, too.
And I just thought of something else, too, that was very surprising to me, was at Ashley's house, just the noises and sounds and voices.
Ashley's house is an anomaly in that you can hear something with your ears, go rewind it and listen, and it's something entirely fucking different.
Yes.
Which I cannot explain. That makes no fucking sense.
It makes no sense at all. Like, you hear one thing, you rewind, and the audio, the recorder captured something at the exact same time that you reacted to, but it's not what you heard with your ears.
It's dramatically different.
Yes, it's dramatically different. Like, you might hear, a trumpet playing, and you play it back, and it's a demon growling at you. It makes no fucking sense.
But then also, in that same house, talk about surprising. One thing you don't expect to happen when you're in a, suburban home with all the lights on is to hear something fucking growl in the middle of the room loudly. And that also happened there.
Yeah, that place is a circus, dude.
So people, listening have to remember, especially after I spent some time listening to there are a few paranormal podcasts out there that are pretty good. There's not many. There's a few.
This is one. Please like, comment, and share.
Yeah. A lot of paranormal podcasts aren't great. Let me put it this way. When you look at genres of podcasts, true crime podcasts, they're all pretty fucking good. With paranormal ones, there's some good ones, and then there's some that are just shit. I want people to remember when they listen to this one that we tend to be pretty skeptical, especially if you're a new listener, because this is something I found myself doing when I was listening to some of these podcasts. Some of the bad ones, they think everything is a fucking ghost, and then on the good ones, I realized that they're questioning a lot of the things that are happening, and that is one of the things that we like to do. But it gets to the point, where if you hear a growl in the middle of a kitchen, you can look at, was that the ice machine, was that this, or was that? But when you listen back to it, and it's a motherfucking silverback growl, what the fuck else is that going to be? I just want everybody to know, especially new listeners, that we do lean, harder into the skeptical before we just dismiss things, like when John saw the person at Tap House. A lot of people are probably listening thinking, well, there's probably someone came in, probably someone walked through. They didn't.
Right. There was nobody there. And that's the very first one of those things that I have seen with my own eyes in all the years we've done this. And that's a lot of years. A lot of years.
I've never seen the full-bodied, fleshed out type.
This one was, and that's why it was so weird, and that's why I was so, that day, if you go back and you play back that audio, it takes me about 30 seconds to tell Dustin what I just saw.
I remember.
You were struggling to
but
get
then you saw some as well.
Dustin saw it too.
It's the same thing. It's just a person walking, but it was just right in the peripheral of my vision.
And it's just there for just
and
just
then
a second.
As soon as you look at it, it's gone.
Yep.
But it was definitely there. Like, my brain was like, oh shit, someone's in here.
To further, explain to people, we don't go into places, expecting something to happen.
I think
we do the opposite.
It can't be said enough how often we go places and nothing fucking happens.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time.
And I think people, when they listen to this podcast, and I do this too, they assume that we're just like magnets for this shit. And everywhere we go, there's a ghost.
We don't talk about those. Nothing
It's
happens.
very important people realize. I'd say a good like 70, 80%.
And even here at the castle, I mean, we talked about this a couple of podcasts ago, Dustin, when you were gone. We had the one Sunday that Tamara let us put up some recorders and stuff in the basement. We're like, we're definitely going to get all kinds of stuff. We put out recorders all over the basement here in Pythian Castle. Not a thing at all happened here. And this is a P1 haunted location.
It's a good point to make, though, that whenever you hear us talking about an investigation coming up and then you don't really hear us ever mention it again, probably because nothing happened. And it's not because we're embarrassed and we don't want to mention that place anymore. It's just there's nothing to talk about. Nothing happened. When you do paranormal investigations, that's going to happen a lot. Now, I will say this, though. In the beginning, when we first started, we had a bunch of those. As years have gone by, now we have more to select from. That does happen less because we pick ones where shit's going to happen.
Well, and also we've gotten better at gathering the evidence. We've got more recorders out there. We've got better equipment to catch stuff with. We've got stuff that we can at least put in the questioning category, whereas before we could not.
I have wondered on some of those older investigations where we didn't catch anything, if we'd have had, some of the stuff we have now, would we have caught something?
Well, and also we've gotten better at listening to stuff too, because on this very podcast, we've gone back through and played back stuff and found stuff again.
Yeah, that's true. We have a bunch.
That we didn't know or didn't catch then because you have to be trained to listen behind. Chris always talks about like the posters where you have to look through it.
Those 3D posters.
Yeah. And you have to know what you're listening for.
And sometimes, goddamn, sometimes my ears just will not lock into that frequency. I just can't hear it. But then, the next day I listen, it's like, oh, fuck.
Well, the same thing happens. When I've done audio here at the castle, I've sent stuff to Chris and he may not hear it, but then all of a sudden he does.
When you first posed the question, you said, surprising things, and we've hit a few of those. We talked about, rancid macaroni and rats and carpets and toilets sitting over holes. We've talked about, some of the surprising shit that we've seen in the paranormal realm. However, you also included funniest things.
Yes. What would be the funniest thing?
That's kind of what I focused on there.
So there's a bunch of those.
The things that Dustin talked about could also be wrapped into funniest too, but what...
God.
The one that kind of takes the cake for me is... fake Dustin.
Oh, that's exactly the one that I was thinking about. That is exactly the one that I was thinking about.
The funniest part about all of that, the funniest fucking part about all of that whole episode, that whole scenario was looking over it and seeing
John,
not John, the silhouette of John, the shadow
mic
of John on the wall. And after this shit happens, he slowly puts the mic up to Chris, his face like he's gonna say something.
You might set this up for anybody. Well,
I was gonna say. So what to kind of set the scene up a little bit. Back then, we were doing the podcast during our investigation. There was just something we tried. We thought, we would try to do a podcast while we investigate.
It was a failure.
And it didn't work. You can't do both at the same time. So anyway, what we found ourselves trying to do is anything, anytime there was a lull or silence, we felt like you needed to say something. Or anything, anytime something happened. Or,
because there would be 25, 30 minutes of just this.
Yeah, and that's a lot of editing. Just a lot of editing to make that shit into a podcast. So anyway, what happened was we were doing an EVP session. We were kind of scattered around the living room of this home, and the homeowner had actually stayed, correct? She had stayed or had come back or something. Mm-hmm. She was on the premises somewhere, but I don't think she was in the house. I think she was out front. Little did we know, a friend of hers, this dude, had also decided that he was going to be a part of this.
Going to do a quick little pop in.
We didn't know this motherfucker came in the house.
And he had a very pronounced voice, too.
It's kind of like that. Hey, it sounds like this. But anyway, we were doing an EVP session, and we were, it was dark, and we were doing kind of an around the horn thing of, Dustin, where are you? I'm in the living room on the couch. And, John would pipe in. I'm between the kitchen and the living room. And, I said, wherever the fuck I was. Everybody kind of said where they were into the microphones that they were holding. And then all of a sudden,
Dustin's on the stairs.
we heard this voice cut through the darkness like a fucking blade.
And I left my skin.
So the first instinct is it scares the fuck out of you.
Well, because the place we're at is very haunted.
We've heard all
and we've been
kinds
hearing
of shit.
all kinds of shit.
And I want to make sure everybody understands the other stuff we had heard was not other Dustin. We had heard children. We had heard growling. We had heard females. We had heard all kinds of stuff. It was just this one little segment. We didn't know this motherfucking trench coat dude
Straight out of the Matrix.
had walked in and was sitting on the stairs joining us. And not only did he join us, physically, he decided to chime in whenever we're doing the podcast.
Terrifying.
Too. So anyway, we're doing the podcast and this guy chimes in, other Dustin's on the stairs, and it scared the fuck out of us. So we all kind of stood there for a minute like, how do we handle this?
Yeah.
Everybody was quiet. And John, I could see him, I could see a window behind him, and he's standing there. It's a silhouette. And I saw you bring the mic up to your mouth, and I thought, thank God, someone's going to say something. And then you kind of stood there with it for a minute and just dropped it down. Like, I don't know what the fuck to say.
Yeah, because I didn't know. I just didn't know what to say at that point in time. It's kind of like this guy is so far off the rails. Do we just try to edit him out and ignore it? Do we bring him in? I didn't know what to do.
It's just you don't know what to do whenever, you're in someone else's home doing an investigation. And then, either that homeowner or an acquaintance of that homeowner is now suddenly in the house with you. It's like, you can't kick them out.
I also thought it was funny, too, when Dustin started talking on the podcast and didn't have his mic up. And you said, hey, we're doing a podcast. Why don't you use the mic? Well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Are we doing an investigation or a fucking podcast?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
That was great.
Anyway, as far as like funny shit that's happened, I mean, you talked about one just a couple weeks ago where Tyler said, are you the one that's making it smell like shit?
You know what? I have to retract that one. Okay, yeah. We're doing this investigation, and it's been a while, but we're in this house, and this house really, it's a foul odor just everywhere that we're at.
Not a paranormal necessarily.
No, and I don't mean just stinks. And this isn't like this isn't like sulfur or anything else. I'm up there and I'm just doing this just dead serious paranormal stuff. Who are you? What is your name? Did you die here? What year? I mean, running through all the stereotypical paranormal stuff. It gets dead quiet, and Tyler chimes in. Tyler just chimes in. Just he chimes in. He says, "Are you the one making it smell like shit in here?"
Yeah.
And I laughed the rest of the night. I couldn't stop laughing.
Me and Dustin were down in the kitchen. It was like, what? I was like, do you hear that? He's like, yeah, that's Kimmons. He's laughing.
Yeah. And I laughed the rest of the night.
I just thought of one more that I laughed so hard at when I listened back through my recorders. I laughed so fucking hard I pissed myself. And it happened at... And there's a million of these, but this is just the one that popped into my head. And this happened at Nora Emerson Bridal in Buffalo. We were in the basement, this scary ass basement, where we did catch a picture of a shadow figure standing down there. We didn't know it yet. When what I'm about to tell you happened, we didn't know it yet, but we heard a voice when we were down there, and it scared the fuck out of us. And we all started running up the stairs. And do you remember as John ran up the stairs, he said, "It's after me." He did. He yelled, "It's after me," and it was the funniest fucking thing I'd ever heard.
It was after me. If you look back, you can see it coming.
I know. We actually caught on your video or something that same shadow figure like feet behind you.
Yeah, he's moving.
But God, that was fucking hilarious. There have been so many of those over the years. Tyler is sick today. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have a bunch to add to that as well. Other things are funny looking back. Like Mars Hill's pretty fucking funny looking back. It wasn't very funny at the moment. The dildo's pretty funny.
Yeah. See, we've also had nights where it was pretty good. A surprise was when we rolled up to the haunted trailer. I did not expect that haunted trailer to be haunted at all.
Fair Grove?
Yeah. When I saw that trailer, I remember thinking, we're not going to have a ghost in a trailer. This is dumb. We shouldn't be here. Blah, 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 blah. That night is when Chris catches the thing in the mirror. He caught that.
Are you talking about the hat?
Yeah.
The hat dude
Yeah, the
peeking
hat
out of
guy.
the laser grid?
Yep.
That was fucking freaky as hell.
We saw that. We had there was some great vocals on that. Matter of fact, probably on the next podcast, we should even go back and play back some of that stuff off the haunted trailer.
Yeah, because there was a funny one there that happened. Oh, I remember. Remember when the voice said beep or something?
Yes, yes.
I
Yes,
remember.
yeah.
We said, can you make this? I remember now. It was an EMF detector, right? And
Yeah.
we said, can you come up to this and make it beep?
And it just goes beep.
Yeah. Do you remember that? That happened at Fairgrove, too. Anyway, we had a lot of shit happen there. We had those weird blue lights around the ceiling. We caught those,
Tons of stuff
on
that
video.
happened. So I would put that in just as a very surprising investigation.
It's hard to do this for as many years as we have and not have, I know we've missed a shitload of them, and not have, things like that happen. We go into places to investigate and we assume, we usually assume, I do at least, that probably not much is going to happen. Maybe that's not the way to go into them. That's just the way I always do. I assume, not much is going to happen. And if it does, it's a pleasant surprise. So we do tend to, we do go into these things skeptical. And even when we catch, audio, we vet that, we debunk it as well as we can. But sometimes, shit happens and it's just like, goddamn, here at Pythian Castle, like I said, getting touched on the neck. When you get touched on the neck with cold fingers, and there's nothing behind me but a wall. I'm not someone who gets touched. I've never been touched before that. I've never been touched after that. But I was that day, and it scared the fuck out of me. You probably remember me throwing the headphones across the table.
Yeah, we've had a bunch of activity here at the castle. There's been just a metric ton.
Yeah. We've got our Route 66 thing we're going to do this summer. That's going to be coming up probably next. We've got Debbie's, I say Debbie, she's the Willard lady. She's the owner of the Willard home. We're going to do her home as well. So we got a lot of investigations, planned that we're going to start getting planned and knocked out, and we'll get those going here pretty soon this summer. And if you have anything that's happened to you, if you know of anybody that has a home or business that requires either input or an investigation of some kind, you can feel free to email us anytime at contact@mwghosthunters.com.
And we'll have more Dark Matter next week from Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri with Midwest Ghost Hunters.